This is an extract from the Leader Coronavirus Daily podcast by the Evening Standard and hosted by me, David Marsland. To hear the whole thing, search for it on your podcast provider. If you called for a doctor during this pandemic, this might not be the one you were expecting, but maybe it's the one you need.
I'm Dr. Emmett Brown. I'm a scientist.
You're late?
No, I was just going to... Great Scott! You're it!
Let's keep it our little secret.
Well, the secret's out now. You may have recognised original Back to the Future actor Christopher Lloyd's voice in that trailer for the new musical there. If you pop online to watch it, you'll see he's hiding behind a copy of the Evening Standard. Of course. The show was cancelled during its run in Manchester because of the pandemic. Now the DeLorean, though, is ready to roar at 88 miles per hour again, this time in London. It'll open at the Adelphi Theatre in the Strand on May 14th, and the man behind it is producer Colin Ingram, who joins me now. Colin, I feel like London really needs a big show like this to bring the crowds back, and it's almost like Marty and the Doc are returning to save the day just in time, isn't it?
It is. I think it's the kind of show that absolutely delivers escapism, nostalgia, and, people want to they just want to escape away from all this. And, I think it is going to work so well. And it's also just something that all ages will enjoy. Men obviously love that movie, but it's a musical, so women are going to love it too. And I think parents want them to see, to experience the show through, their kids through, with them seeing it as well. So I think, it's perfect from that point of view.
Just before we were doing this interview, I was looking up that great Alan Silvestri main theme, the da 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 da, and I was just thinking, when something like that comes up and the lights are down and you've had this audience starved of this kind of entertainment for such a long time, I bet they roar, Colin. I bet they can't control themselves. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, well, you might know that we tried out the show in Manchester, and when that music plays, we have it in the overture, everyone just goes crazy. And what Alan's been very involved in the show. All the Back to the Future writers have been involved. Bob Gale, Bob Zemeckis, Alan Silvestri. And what Alan has done, which is incredible, is he's made it sound like we've got a 80-piece orchestra. And it sounds like the film. We've got amazing songs. Glenn Ballard and Alan have written 14 incredible songs. And we've got the songs from the movie as well. We've got Power of Love and Back in Time and Johnny Be Good. But what we've also done is we've got this incredible underscore that goes underneath all the dialogue. And it adds so much to it. And Alan, it was interesting because during the rehearsal period, he would film parts of the rehearsals and then he would go away and score under all this. A bit like how a film composer works. So, it's incredibly complicated. But it's just constantly, from beginning to end, it's just constant music. And it adds so much, We know it adds a lot in films, but it really adds a lot in a theatre show as well, because it's incredible.
And someone else helping you out was Christopher Lloyd turning up in the trailer. Now, if you want to get good coverage in the Evening Standard, Colin, make sure Christopher Lloyd is holding a copy of the newspaper. But it's nice to have that little touch, to have that little kind of approval, really, isn't it, from the movie itself?
Yeah, it is. As I said, we've got all the writers from the film, but the cast have been really supportive. And we've had, Chris Lloyd, and we hope many of the other film cast will come on board as well. They're all aware of it. Bob Gale's fantastic at just keeping the family together. It's been 30 years, but they've managed to keep this kind of family together, and it's really wonderful.
It must have been, you mentioned that it started in Manchester and then you had to cut it short for this pandemic. That must have been gutting for you, a hit show having to stop.
Yeah, it was. And it was gutting for everybody on so many levels. But we got to get the theatre owners up to Manchester and, fortunately out of it, on the opening night actually in Manchester, which was literally 4 days before the pandemic, we got offered the Adelphi, and in fact, it was Madeline Lloyd Webber, Andrew's wife, came up to see it, and she was just so blown away by it. But yes, it was devastating for everybody to have worked so hard, and really just, that's the fun bit, is performing and putting it in front of the audience. And, you do all the hard work in rehearsals, but you do it because you want to perform to people every night. So that's been hard, but I'm delighted all the principals have come back, all the band are coming back, which is fantastic. And so a lot of the things we learned about the show, it's very technical, the show, there's incredible illusions. What we do is really using the technology of today. So we're in a really good place to bring it to the West End.
And the last question, but I think people are going to want to know this, is it going to be safe? Have you taken measures to include social distancing?
We won't open without 100% capacity. And we're confident that by May that will happen. However, we're working hard with LW theatres to ensure that the safety of the customers, and of course the company backstage, which is a challenge as well, is absolutely at the first. But one thing I'd like to say is that people can book with confidence, because ticket buyers have flexibility. We will be able to exchange tickets up to 24 hours before the performance. So that means if people are having to self-isolate, or they're not feeling well, there'll be that flexibility to move people. And I think that's really important for us. And just to say, we'll all be coming back next year, and we need everybody to support the West End, and of course all the regional theatres around the country as well, because this has been a really tough time for this industry. And as you say, what better show to come out of all this Back to the Future? It's just a delight, and it's very funny. It's very, very funny. I think it's Bob Gale won't tell me off for this, but I think it's funnier than the film. I think when you see everything, you see everything up front, and Roger Bart, who's playing Doc Brown, is an absolute genius. Hugh Coles, who's playing George McFly, incredible. And of course, because the special effects are all live and they're in front of you, it has such an impact as well. And it's very, very warm show. It's about a family and how they change through Marty's journey, and how, effectively, if you put your mind to it, you can achieve anything. And yeah, it's great fun. It's just great fun.
Search for the leader Coronavirus Daily on any podcast provider to hear more from the podcast.